By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a one-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC, and your daily reminder that the Reds are top of the league and top of the Champions League. 5 wins from 5 after last night's 2-0 victory over Real Madrid. Just a great night to be a Red last night, wasn't it? It's always nice when those big clubs, we're a huge club, but they're the biggest club. When teams like that come to Anfield and get humbled, it's always really nice. It's always really nice as well to see the look on some certain players' faces when they're greeted with an atmosphere they haven't experienced before, and I thought we saw that last night from Real's superstars. Look, there's excuses being made. They were missing players, yada yada. So were we. We didn't have Alisson. We didn't have Trent. Those two players are in a World 11. We didn't have Jota. He's a starting number 9. Chiesa is not back yet. Harvey's not fully fit. We're missing players too. So nobody's having a big cry for Real Madrid, other than Arsenal fans who just want to cry about everything, particularly stuff that has nothing to do with their clubs. But last night, we went into that game with Kelleher, Bradley, Ibu, Virgil and Robbo, the back four that had been quite poor against Southampton, particularly those fullbacks. In midfield, it was Gravenberch, it was Alexis, and it was Curtis Jones. And then up front, Mo, Darwin, and Diaz. And from the off, we looked up for it. 3 minutes into the game, Mo nicks the ball off Mbappe, gives it to Darwin in our own half, and Darwin takes off and starts carrying it, feeds it out to Mo, continues his run. Mo gets it back to him. I'm not sure if it's a cross or a shot or if it's kind of in between. Courtois gets a paw to it. It looks like it might just break to Diaz, but Asensio, to his credit, was well positioned. Then he almost put it into his own net but managed to clear it. And from there, that kind of set a tone of us being able to break at them with pace and with aggression. And we saw some really nice attacks from the Reds in this game. Some chances that came out of scruffiness, but they came out of our relentless desire to win the ball everywhere, including the second Darwin chance, which is really good goalkeeping by Thibaut Courtois. But it comes from Curtis Jones just not giving up on something. The ball gets bundled across to Darwin, and Courtois has just closed the gap. There's nowhere for Darwin to put the ball. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. That kind of ability that we have to ramp up the pace that we play at is something that I think takes a lot of teams, or catches a lot of teams off guard. You know, I think it caught Leverkusen off guard when we really upped the tempo. In this game, I thought we were very managed, but when we needed to, we upped the tempo. Now, the first half was not all one-way traffic. Let's not pretend it was. The first half, for the first half an hour, was quite an even game. And Real had some nice passing moves. They were able to play through our midfield quite easily on a number of occasions. We were picking up yellow cards. Alexis having to cover got a yellow card for a pullback. Gravenberch got one for mouthing at the referee. Darwin got one after getting what seemed like a slap in the face. It was just a bit bitty from the referee's perspective, and I think that kind of allowed them more of a foothold because certain Liverpool players became a little bit hesitant in the tackle. One who didn't was Conor Bradley. So on 30 minutes, we have the ball, we lose it. There's a weak Gravenberch challenge that they play around, and the ball gets played down the channel to Mbappe. And Conor Bradley comes over and absolutely crunches him. That was the second time Kylian Mbappe had found himself in a heap on the Anfield turf. The first was when Virgil came over and poleaxed him, and probably should have been booked, but got away with it because Gravenberch started talking to the ref, said something that the ref didn't like. That's when Gravenberch got his yellow card. But Mbappe ended up upside down that time. He didn't end up much better when Conor Bradley came across and crunched him. It's probably the best sliding tackle we've seen in Anfield since Fabinho left Luis Suarez in a heap. Thankfully, unlike that time, the referee did not book our player. But when that happened, the crowd went absolutely nuts. Like, the atmosphere lifted to rare levels. Like, levels that we don't see or don't hear very often. And I thought we closed the half very, very strong. We come out in the second half. Actually, Darwin had another chance in that first half. It's a lovely Alexis ball lifted over the defence, and Darwin does brilliantly to stretch and direct a header. Whether he's trying to head it across goal or find the far corner, again, it's kind of in between. If Luis Diaz had really committed to going at that one, I think he probably gets on the end of it and has an easy tap in. But he doesn't, unfortunately. And the half ends 0-0. We come out in the second half, and McAllister is flying at this point. So is Curtis Jones. Curtis is just driving at them over and over again. And Alexis is picking up lovely little pockets of space, and he finds one, and he plays a gorgeous flighted ball for Conor Bradley, who's decided to play centre forward. It's a brilliantly timed Bradley run. He heads it really well on the run with the ball coming over his shoulder. But Courtois makes an unbelievable save. And you start to get that kind of sense of dread that we've had with Thibaut Courtois in the past. Not just the 2022 Champions League final, but, you know, when he was at Chelsea as well, he was just always horrible to play against because he is great. He is absolutely great. But Curtis gets the ball on the left channel, feeds it into Alexis. He slaloms through some defenders, overruns the ball a little bit, pokes it to Bradley. It's a lovely cushioned wall pass from Bradley back into Alexis' feet. One touch and a lovely little slid finish across the goalkeeper, round the defence. It was just a fantastic finish by Alexis McAllister, making it 1-0. And from there, you really did think we might batter them here. Because within a couple of minutes, Curtis is just dancing through them, does brilliantly, feeds it to Alexis. He takes a touch, he sets himself. You're thinking, this is finding the corner of the net. It's just wide. And at that moment, it felt like if we get a second here, the floodgates could open. because not only have they come into this game with some, very important injuries, Vinicius, Tchouaméni, and 2 starting defenders. Like, not to downplay, we obviously had 3 starters and a couple of squad players that weren't ready as well. But, when you looked at their bench, it was quite weak. They were missing key players, but key leaders, especially Carvajal. And you just thought, if we get a second here, we might get 3 or 4. And Camavinga had gone off with an injury shortly after our first goal. And he'd been outstanding. He was, I would say, the best midfielder on the pitch in the first half. He goes off, and all of a sudden the midfield starts to look quite lightweight because they're bringing on Dani Ceballos in place of him. They don't have any real physicality in there now other than Jude, but he's not a ball winner. But then they go on the attack. Ball gets fed out to Lucas Vazquez. He dummies the shot, cuts back on his left foot, and Andy Robertson, it's just a lazy tackle. It's a lazy, tired tackle, and he stands on his foot, and it's a penalty. Like, there's no arguments, it's a penalty. Second game in a row, Robbo's given away a silly penalty. And the shame of it last night was he was playing really well. And to be fair, across the game, he was good. But he was playing really well up until that moment. Mbappe steps up and Kelleher makes a great save. And this time, he doesn't get the bad luck of the ball bouncing back to the taker with nobody round him to tap home. This time, he manages to push it out wide. Diaz gets to it first and clears it. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Queeving. Within a couple of minutes, Luis Diaz picks the ball up in our right-back zone after a really good challenge by Bradley on Mbappe, which was something that we were talking about a lot last night. Both him and Ibu on Mbappe were just magnificent. Diaz picks the ball up, starts moving forward, beats a man, feeds it to Mo, and Mo is one-on-one with Mendy. Now, they have other defenders, but they're scattered across the width of the pitch. Mo has Mendy isolated, and Mo is moving at pace. And all Mendy can do is back up and back up and back up. And when Mendy decides it's time to try and make a tackle, he's already in his own box. Mo goes one way, comes back the other. Mendy hangs his leg. It's a penalty. And you think, right, this is going in. This is 2-0. This is what we deserve, the way we've played in this second half. Mo seemed to kick the pitch before he made contact with the ball. He seemed to run up thinking, I have to hit this very hard. And he seemed to kick the floor before he kicked the ball. Now, initially I thought he missed it by quite a distance, but it actually clipped the outside of the post. So he didn't miss by that much. But he did miss, and that's unfortunate. And it felt like that could be something that would cost us, but Real didn't trouble us after that, really. They didn't really offer much of anything after that. Without Camavinga in midfield, even when Valverde went into midfield, they didn't have that same level of control and physicality that they had previously. They didn't have the same level of aggression down the right without Valverde there. So even though Valverde's naturally a midfielder and he's an outrageously good midfielder, the balance they had with Camavinga central and Valverde on the right was much better for them in what they were trying to do than with Valverde central and Lucas Vazquez on the right. So we were able to control the game from there. And you never really felt like they were going to get a goal after that. It was just comfortable for us. But we go 2-0 up anyway, making sure of it, making sure there's no risk of a Real Madrid comeback. Andy Robertson, whose corners had been an abomination, this time takes a short corner to Curtis, who lays it back to him, and Robbo steps onto that rolling ball, and it is a gorgeous cross. Absolutely gorgeous. Courtois doesn't come for it, which I don't really understand because he's massive and he should be dominating his box. And Cody jumps with nobody around him. The closest player to him was Luka Modric. Luka Modric, I think, is 5'9". Cody's 6'3". So standing still, Cody would have 6 inches on him. But Cody jumps, and he jumps high. That's a great header. Great finish. Great goal. Well worthy of a game like that. And that's how it ends. It ends 2-0. We did have some unfortunate moments. Conor Bradley forced off with a hamstring injury. Rumours are about a month out, which is unfortunate, but Trent is back. He was on the bench last night. Gomez is there. So we're fine at right back as well. And Bradley was brilliant last night, but we're fine at right back. The more concerning one was Ibu. So in the dying seconds of the game, the ball played towards our box. Hendrick is trying to get on the end of it. Virgil and Ibu come across and just sort of sandwich him. And he falls over. And unfortunately, he falls on Ibu. Now, you've got a bunch of attention seekers on Twitter now saying he did it on purpose, that it was malicious, that he knew he was doing. It's bullshit. No, he didn't. He is a short man who got flatlined by 2 large men and he fell over. That's what happened. He fell over, he landed on Ibu. It happens. It's really unfortunate it happened. Now, the suggestion is that Ibu's fine. He did not look good going off last night. He looked in quite a bit of pain.
At Sierra, discover joyous deals on great gifts for everyone on your list. Like cozy slippers, ski gear, fishing poles, bikes, large kayaks, even larger canoes. Whew, which might lead to another discovery. Wrapping gifts is the only sport you need to stay fit this season. 'Tis the season to discover great gifts at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Blinds.com's Black Friday sales event is happening now with our best deals of the season. Let our design experts help you make the perfect selection for your home on your schedule. We can send free samples right to you and handle everything from measure to install. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Save up to 50% site-wide, plus doorbusters, and a free professional measure at the Blinds.com Black Friday sales event now. Rules and restrictions may apply.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
But the suggestion is that he's okay. Now, we won't know for certain until we hear from Arna. And Arna is going to speak today at 3 p.m. We'll have the press conference up as a podcast for you to listen to. And then we will have Dave Davis with his post-conference presser reaction pod after that. So make sure you check those out and we can find out together what is the deal with Ibu. Hopefully he's fine for City because we could use him for City. But look, if it's Joe and Virgil against City, we're not going to be scared of them. Joe was outrageously good against City a couple of years ago at Anfield. And that would mean Trent starting at right back, which maybe they'd rather he didn't come back into Newcastle to get the few extra days. But if he's on the bench last night, he should be good to go against City, even if it is only for an hour. Fingers crossed anyway. So, Liverpool, 5 wins from 5 in the Champions League. The only team with 5 wins from 5 games. And when you consider that we had the hardest draw, that's a hell of an achievement. To only concede 1 goal is incredibly good as well. Now, Atalanta have only conceded 1 goal, but they've had a pretty easy run. Inter haven't conceded any, but they've had easier games than us. They've also only scored 7 goals, which is funny. But Inter are second on 13 points. Barca and Dortmund have 12. Atalanta have 11. And then everybody else has 10 or less. 1 more win will guarantee us a spot in the first 8, like the 8 that go through and avoid the playoff nonsense. 1 more win, which is lovely. When you look at our games coming up, it's Girona away next. That's the 10th of December. Win that one, and we go through. Girona currently sit outside of the qualification spots, like the top 24. They're not even in the top 24. Girona are 30th with 1 win and 4 defeats. So we play them. And they lost to Sturm Graz in this round, who hadn't won any of their games prior to that. We play them. Then it's Lille. They're currently 12th. They've got 10 points, same as Arsenal, same as Leverkusen, Villa, Sporting, Monaco, etc. So they've had a pretty decent run, but they've had a pretty easy run. And then it's PSV, who've won their last 2, but don't look great. And we should be able to win any of those 3 games. We should be able to win all 3 games. And if we did win 8 from 8, it would be quite the statement. It would be quite the statement to just put a marker down and let everybody know that, this Liverpool team is very, very real. And the amusing thing to me is we're hearing from all of these Arsenal fans that, Liverpool have peaked too early. And I don't really know what that means. But it's just amusing to me to see Arsenal fans and City fans try and downplay just how much better than them we've been so far this season. So, as you know, we're 8 clear of City in the league, 9 clear of Arsenal in the league. But that doesn't really tell us the story. All 3 teams have played 19 games across all competitions. Liverpool have won 17, drawn 1, lost 1, scored 44, conceded 12, for goal difference of plus 32, and a winning percentage of 89.47. 89.47 through 19 games. City have won 10. So 7 less than us. They've drawn 4, 3 more than us, and they've lost 5, 4 more than us. They've scored 39, so that's 5 less than us. They've conceded 28 in all competitions. 28. That is 16 more than us, for a goal difference of plus 11, and a winning percentage of 52.6. Arsenal have won 11, 6 less than us. They've drawn 5, 4 more than us. And they've lost 3, 2 more than us. They've scored 37 goals, so 7 less. They've conceded 15, so 3 more. And their win percentage is 57.9. But wait, there's more to this. So, in the League Cup, of which in that competition, each team has played twice, we have played 2 Premier League teams, West Ham and Brighton, and beaten them both. City played Watford and beat them, and then lost to Spurs. So they had an easier League Cup run than us, a Championship team, and then 1 Premier League team. And I wouldn't say Spurs are better than Brighton, but West Ham are much better than Watford, even with the bad start they've had. So we had a harder run than City, and we've done better than them in that competition. They're gone. Arsenal are still in it, but they beat League One Bolton and bottom end of the Championship Preston. So we've had the harder run there as well. So I understand that Arsenal fans like to tell everybody, oh, but we've had the hardest start in the Premier League. Yeah, okay, you've had a harder run in the Premier League than we have. I will grant you that. No problem at all. I'm looking at all competitions here. In the Champions League, we're obviously having the best Champions League run. Arsenal played Atalanta, Paris Saint-Germain, Shakhtar, Inter, and Sporting. Now that's tough. It's not as tough as what we've been through. It's not as good. It's not as tough a run as what we had. And yet, we've done considerably better than them as well. We've won all 5. They've only won 3. 1 draw, 1 defeat. In the Champions League, City played Inter, Slovan Bratislava, Sparta Prague, Sporting, and Feyenoord. That's a much easier run than we've had. And yet they've only won 2 of those games against Slovan and Sparta Prague, while drawing 2 and losing 1. So we had the hardest EFL run. We've had the hardest Champions League run. I would argue then that overall, strength of schedule, us versus Arsenal, it's about even. And yet again, we've won 6 more games than them. We've scored 7 more goals, conceded 3 less goals. And our win percentage is 30% higher than theirs. It's not just that we're better than them in the league. We're better than them across the board by an even bigger margin. We're performing right now at a historically great level. That's just a fact. We're performing at a historically great level. And there's nothing that suggests this is not sustainable. We're not overperforming our XG by some massive amount. Defensively, we're not underperforming the XG against by some massive amount. We haven't had unusually good luck with injuries the way Arsenal had the last 2 years. We don't have any individual player playing at an unusually high level for them. Nobody's on a once-in-a-career hot streak, the way you sometimes see in this league. Like, remember when Joe Willock went to Newcastle and had that hot streak? Or when Jesse Lingard went to West Ham on loan and had that ridiculous run? Like, there's nobody in this Liverpool team playing at a level they haven't shown before at some point in their career. It's just not happening. So there's nothing that suggests this isn't sustainable. And as I highlighted yesterday, thanks to Neil Devlin, we don't need to be historically great to get to 90 points and win the league. We just need to be very good. City and Arsenal need to be historically great just to get to 90 points. And that's the difference. That's the gulf that we've created so far. You know, if you look at this from, let's just imagine all of these games were league games that we played. Let's say we were sitting here and this is 19 league matches that each club has played. Now, again, bear in mind the teams that City have played. Slovan Bratislava, Sparta Prague. Neither of them would be Premier League teams, nor would Watford. For Arsenal, Shakhtar at this point would not be a Premier League team. Obviously, Bolton and Preston are not either. So, again, easier schedule for them overall. But Arsenal would currently, after those 19 games, be sat on 38 points. 38 points. 11 wins, 5 draws. They would be on track for a 78-point season, which is normally in and around the third place finish in the Premier League. Back in the day, it might have won you a Premier League, but now it's in and around the third place finish. City would be on 34 points. They'd be on track for a 68-point season, which in some years would mean missing out on Champions League football. In a lot of years would mean fourth place. Liverpool would be on 52 points. We'd be 14 clear of Arsenal and 18 clear of City. We'd be on track for 104 points, which would be the greatest Premier League season of all time. That's the level that we're playing at. All of the teams that we have played in the Champions League this year, all of them are Premier League caliber teams. Every single one of them are Premier League caliber teams. Milan, I would argue, would be a European contender. Bologna would be probably somewhere in the mid-table, in around your Brentfords, your Bournemouths, that kind of region. Leipzig, again, European contender. Leverkusen would be a Champions League contender. And Real would be a title contender, if not a title favourite. Stronger schedule, tougher run of games in the Champions League and in the EFL Cup. And yet, we're outpacing these teams by a considerable margin. We would be looking at the most dominant Premier League win of all time, based on what's happening across all competitions. If the idea that it's close between us and these teams right now is not based in reality. It's just not rooted in any kind of reality. We are levels ahead of them right now. Now, that gap will probably close. It probably will close. But for the moment, we are playing at a historically great level. And I say it all the time. When you want to win a Premier League title, the most you can drop points in is 10 games. Realistically, you don't want to drop points in any more than 6 to 7 to 8 games. 6 to 8 is kind of the sweet spot. Arsenal have already dropped points in 6 games. Manchester City have already dropped points in 5 games. We've dropped points in 2. Now, we've got a tough 3-game run coming up. City, Newcastle, Everton. That's a really tough week. If we come out of that with 3 straight wins, what are they going to say then? Then we get Fulham home. That's not easy. It's not easy. Away to Spurs is hard, but they have lost Vicario. So a little bit of luck breaking our way there. Then it's Leicester. Then it's West Ham, and that's the end of the year. That's the end of the year. If we get through this run, and let's say, what have we got there? 7 games left in the league. Let's say we win 5 and draw 2. Yeah, win 5 and draw 2. I think that's conservative. I think that's being respectful to who we're playing against. I think there's a world in which we win all 7. I think it's quite a realistic world as well. But let's say we win 5 and draw 2. Arsenal's games, I would say they maybe win 6 and draw 1. I can see City losing a couple of times in their run. We would get to the new year 7 points ahead of Arsenal in the league. And they have to come to Anfield. And we have a favourable enough January, February run. We do play City away and we play Newcastle home, but we've got United home, Forest who are starting to struggle a little bit, starting to show that maybe, the start of the season was a flash in the pan. Brentford away is a game we should win. Ipswich home is a winnable game. Bournemouth is a winnable game. Wolves is a winnable game. And then City away. Like, there's no... This is the tough run. This 3 games here. After that, there's no 3-game run that really bothers me up until Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, followed by Brighton. That's late April into May. We play like this, the way we are right now. Those games are going to be inconsequential. We'll have it wrapped up by then. That's how well we're playing. That's the historic level that we're at. Right. Let's check AnfieldIndex.com. There's a couple of pieces about last night's game. There is a piece about Jeremy Frimpong. There's a piece about Frankie de Jong. Podcast-wise, there is post-match Raw from yesterday. There's also Arne Slot's post-match press conference. There's the Gags Tandon show. There's the David Lynch podcast. And there is a Euro Incision, which is Nina and Guy Drinkle, so do check that out. Like I said, young Davis will be back later today with I think there's an emergency Dave Davis podcast that is taking place maybe at the moment. So I'm sure that'll be out today as well. And then there will be the post-conference presser, which you should give a listen to too. And he'll have whatever Arne has decided to tell us. Of course, Lewis Steele in the Mail deciding to remind us all that the last time there was a press conference at Anfield, or maybe it's at the AXA, it's probably at the AXA, on a Thursday rather than a Friday, was when Jurgen was telling us all he was leaving. So, Arne's not leaving though. He's not allowed to leave. He can never leave at this point. Right, I'm going to go. Do check out all we have on AnfieldIndex.com, and I will speak to you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your days. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Have you or someone you know left the behavioral health field? Coming back has its benefits for you and Ohioans in need. We would love to have you back working at a community behavioral health center, and you could earn up to a $3,000 bonus. That's right, a $3,000 bonus. Visit mha.ohio.gov/welcome back and restart your journey today. That's mha.ohio.gov/welcome back.